Okay, so what is tolerance? Why do industries use tolerance? Industries allow for some variation so that the part can still be used for its intended purpose. Make sure you pay attention now, okay? If you don't want to pay attention to my jokes, that's fine, but this part. So tolerance is the range of acceptable measurements, right? It's the measurement variation allowed so that an item is still accepted for its intended purpose. So I know that this is what I want you to think of every single time. And the gap between the max and the min varies a lot from industry to industry. So if I'm ordering a car part, let's say the cylinder head for my engine, there's honestly 1/1000th of an inch of variation allowed, or else it will not fit, right? So there's like very little wiggle room. So don't think that, oh, it's always the same width, Mr. Erickson, like your max and your min is always the same. I just want you to think of there's the lowest that is acceptable, and then there's the highest acceptable measurement of anything. And so the difference between the two is what we call the tolerance. Okay, it's the range between the max and the min. And so if it's too small, if something is too small, I talked about a door. If the door is too small, then there'll be gaps all around. You'll lose the warm air in the house, or cold air will be coming in, so there'll be drafts. That's not good. If the door is too large, if it's too big, it's not going to fit. So whenever we talk tolerance, and we want you to describe or explain, talk about what would happen if either one of these would be surpassed. Either talk about what would happen if it's too much or too large or too big, or what if it's too small. I don't know if I talked about if you get a vaccine, right? Or if you get a blood transfusion or anything. If it's too, like if it's, let's go with anesthesia, let's say. And if they put too much in you, what could potentially happen if the nurse puts too much in? You could die, you could have severe side effects, right? If it's too little, if the nurse doesn't put enough in, you're gonna be in pain, right? They're gonna cut you open, you're gonna be like, ow, right? Like, hopefully it wouldn't happen. Too extreme scenario, right? But anyways, something like that. That's what the province wants you to talk about. Talk about both, either extreme. You don't have to talk about both, okay? I like the, one example could be voltage on your battery, okay? If the voltage is too low, whatever it's trying to power is not gonna work, right? You're with me? It's not gonna work. Flashlight's not gonna turn on. What if the voltage is too high? You're gonna fry something, you're gonna break something. So talk about either extreme if something is thrown at you, okay? That's the explain type of scenarios. Next, I want you to understand the difference between uncertainty. We talked about precision and uncertainty a lot. And what about tolerance? Because both of them have a plus or minus. That's why I wanted to make a distinction. I will tell you this, guys. The province won't mess with you when it comes to that. Just plain and simple. They won't like, what, is this uncertainty? Is this tolerance? Where are we at here? They won't do that to you, okay? But I need you to understand what the difference is. Uncertainty, it is essentially set by your measuring device. Remember that, guys? Because remember, we would take the precision, and then we would divide it in half. Then we had our uncertainty, okay? Tolerance is different. Tolerance is determined by the industry, by the sector, and it is, so essentially it's set by the industry. Why? Because they know that there's human error. They know that there could be equipment malfunction. They know that there's limitations to the measuring device. So tolerance is because of uncertainty, because of other factors. They allow for some variation. Okay? For example, do you think a can of pop has 355 milliliters according to the can, right? Do you think there's always 355 in there? Do you think that they have some sort of way to weed out the ones that don't have, like if it's too low, right? Like say a can only has like 300 mLs in there, or like maybe less. They're probably gonna remove it, right? They're gonna remove that can. If it's too much, then it's probably gonna pop, right? Or it's gonna burst, or something's gonna happen, right? So they do have some variation. Like if it's a little under, a little over, that's fine. But if it's too high, obviously the can would burst. If it's too low, what would happen if it's too low? Just make something up. Make something up. What would you do if it was like only 300 or 250 in there? Probably complain, right? I got ripped off. Something like that. Okay. Here's where I want to actually, whether you watch the lesson or not, I really appreciate if you did, because it's going to help you. You've got one goal already. Okay. Stating the measurement, the tolerance of a measurement. When it comes to tolerance, guys, when it comes to tolerance, you will always be able to get these 4 pieces of information out of your tolerance, out of a tolerance scenario. You will know what the maximum is, what the minimum is, what the nominal is, and what the tolerance is. What is the nominal? I'm going to use a different color. The nominal is essentially what we're going to target. So for, like, let's say a pop, a company that makes 355 ml cans, the target is 355 every time. Okay, that's our nominal, that's what we're aiming for. The tolerance is the range of variation allowed. Can you please write down one more time? I want you to keep doing this. Tolerance, mathematically, is taking the maximum, subtracting the minimum from it. Put it next to tolerance. And here's a visual of these 4 components. Here's a visual, right? You've got your max, you've got your min. Anything above the max is discarded. Right? Anything that's lower than the min is also discarded. Only what's in here is okay, right? So this is the tolerance. One more time. You can go tolerance. And guess what? One more thing. Did I put nominal in here in the video? Did I put the nominal in the video? Did I put like a line in here somewhere with the nominal? I didn't? Okay, good. Because pay attention to this, guys. This is important, okay? Nominal is what we're targeting. Sometimes the nominal is right in the middle between the lowest and the highest acceptable. But sometimes the nominal is going to be somewhere here. Sometimes the nominal is here. Sometimes the nominal is up here. How so, Mr. Dirksen? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Well, let's say you're building an air landing strip. I may have used this example, but it's a landing strip for an airplane. You say the landing strip has to be 2 kilometers long. So then you'll maybe say, well, 2 kilometers is like the shortest possible. If you aim for 2 kilometers, we're happy. But does it matter if it's longer? Like if the landing strip is a little longer, we're okay with that, right? So we're aiming for the lowest. It's okay to have more, okay? So sometimes the nominal is going to hover somewhere in here. And I'll show you how we're going to determine the nominal in a bit, okay? So let's keep going. Tolerance can be expressed in 4 ways. These are your 4 ways, guys. If you need a little 4 ways is this is like the model. This is what we're going to follow. So the province may ask you to state it in this format, in this format, or that format, or they will present you with one of these. So you got to be comfortable with them presenting you this format or asking you to write it in that format. Does that make sense? Okay. One more thing, guys. Use a highlighter for this. I don't know how else to say this, but if there's one single number on its own in front of something else, that is what we call the nominal. So highlight nominal there. In this case where there's numbers, that is my nominal. So that highlights there. Got it? So let's fill that in. In this particular case with this measurement, what they're aiming for is 250 mLs. Okay? Let's go to this next case. Is there one singular number in front of everything? Yes, there's just one singular in front of a bunch of other stuff. So this one is, in this case, would be the 5 degrees Celsius, and that is what we understand to be the nominal. So write down 5 degrees Celsius. Or just watch me if you've already written it down, that's fine. I can't tell you how many times there's sometimes 2 to 3 marks on the exam, simply that, state the nominal. So if you know, oh, it's 5, right? It's a front number, that is my nominal, you're fine. Easy 1 mark, okay? Next, this one, there's one singular number on its own. In this case, it's 45 millimeters. That is my nominal. I hope that at least, that's the one thing you can quickly identify without doing any math. Okay? And then there's your problem case. The last one. When you have 2 numbers stacked like that, the nominal is going to be understood to be halfway between the 2. So I need you to write this down if you haven't done it yet. The nominal is going to be found by adding those 2 numbers up. Make sure you put brackets around it, and then you divide it in half. And I'll say this. We assume that the nominal is halfway between the min and the max. Okay? Write that down if you haven't done that. So in this case, we can't just highlight a number. We'll have to calculate it. Let's calculate it in this case. So it's going to be 15 plus 12 divided by 2. That is 27 divided by 2. That is 13.5 centimeters. And I'm going to help you out in a bit what to add to your study sheet. I think I kind of, it's basically whatever's on this page, in my opinion, is fair game. Okay? So we've identified the nominal every single time in all 4 formats. Now, let's complete the other 4 here. The max. In this case, 250 plus or minus, I hope that you would all know that you have to add to get the max. I'm going to do the math here. Half of 10 is 5. Okay? So the max is 250 plus 5. So that's 255 ml. The min is 250 minus 5. Right? So we're going to go minus 5. That's 245. tolerance is simply, please don't just, I would refrain from copying here because I don't know what they could do to you on the exam. So I'd rather say, go find max and min and subtract them. You go 255 minus 245. It is 10 mLs in this case. I need you to be really good at these ones because there are some curveballs that I will deal with in a bit, okay? Next, this one. How would you, you're good. How would you get your max out of this? You go 5 plus 2. So 5 plus 2 is 7 degrees is the hottest, the warmest we allow in this case. And 5 minus 0 is the lowest. Tolerance, let's subtract these two. 7 minus 5 is 2 degrees Celsius. Can I just say something right here? Any assumptions that you're making right now, please don't make them yet. Okay, practice a few more before you're like, oh, it's always going to be, this is 2, there's a 2 there. Oh, it's always going to be 2, it's always going to match that. Don't think that, and you will see why in a bit. Just follow what I do here. In this case, it's 45 plus 0, 45 millimeters. The minimum is 45 minus 1. So that's 44. The tolerance is the difference between these two. 45 minus 44. That is 1 millimeter. Okay? You got that? What's the max here, guys? 15, right? That's the only, like, you should recognize this on your study sheet. You go back to your study sheet, like, which one of the 4 am I talking about? This one matches with this type, right? This is the only way. So this is my max. This is my min. Right? And then you just subtract them. 3 centimeters. Right? And then you got all these 4 extracted from the tolerance. Okay? And we already calculated the nominal. Okay. Let's keep going here. I'm not sure. I'm going to ask you to, did I go to 39 on the video? A little bit? Did I rewrite it in other formats? No? Okay. Let's go to 39. I'll show you what I mean. Okay. I'll give you some class time to work in a bit, okay? When you're asked to rewrite tolerance in other formats, you should try to determine the max, the min, and tolerance, okay? And as well as the nominal, these 4. Once you know these, you can simply follow the formats on your study sheet and write them in the other 3. So let's imagine a lumber yard that cuts strips of wood, and the strips have to follow a tolerance of whatever is stated here. Okay? Which one does this match down here? Which one is it? This one, right? So this one is already done. We don't need to rewrite it in that format. It's already done. Okay? That's the one that's given. So we need to, I want you to rewrite this in these other 3 formats. Before you do that, fill in these 4 pieces of information. I actually want you to have these 4 next to a question like these. Like these ones that you're going to see here. Okay? What's half of 4? Let's figure that out real quick. It's 2 millimeters. So we're just going to get the max. 45 plus 2, that's 47. The min is 45 minus 2, that's 43. It does get trickier sometimes, lots of decimals. Just use your calculator, you will be fine. The tolerance is 47 minus 43. That is 4 millimeters. That is how much wiggle room I have. That's not much, right? What's the nominal? I'll give you 100 bars later on if you say, no, I'm just kidding. It's 45, right? 45. It's slim pickings. Yeah, I know. They haven't been refilling my bin. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they think I eat them all or something. I don't know. Anyways, so once you have this, so take this information, distribute it, and have this inventory, and then use that to rewrite. Watch how easy it is. Don't get too excited, guys. It's okay. Calm down. Calm down. Max min, right? This format. You just go max min. Just write it down like that. 47. 43. See? Boom. You're done. Okay. Next. This format right here. What does it call for? The min first and foremost. So I just go grab my min. It's 43. I go plus the tolerance. What is my tolerance? It's right there. It's 4 millimeters minus 0. Should I put millimeters in there? I wonder. Just do it. Yeah, just do it. Nike, right? Max, what's my max? 47. I would put units everywhere. I would put units everywhere. Plus 0, minus tolerance 4, right? And you're done, right? So you've rewritten the measurement and its tolerance in the 3 other methods. So I go to my inventory, and from the inventory, I kind of go into the other 3 formats. Inventory first, then go into the other 3. Last but not least, this is a 1-mark question down here. Just let's do the one down here. Which of the following strips would be acceptable? This one. Before you answer this, what is my max? What is my min? We know that the max is 47. The min is 43. Anything in here is okay. Anything out here is discarded.
Excuse the interruption. Could I please have a custodian to the office? Custodian to the office, please. Thank you.
43.01. Is that okay? If this is 43, 43.01 is like right there. This is I, right? 47.01, is that okay? No, because it's bigger, right? So this is double I. Like this one is over there. 42.99, it's out here. It's not good enough, right? So 42.79, even worse, right? It's down here. So the only one that works is the very first one. So check mark, all the other ones are discarded. So that's what we mean by that, right? So you have to figure out which one is acceptable and which one isn't. I'm going to stop talking. Page 42 is a little tricky. I don't know if you've gotten there already. I'm just going to give you a heads up. Go to 42 real quick. 42, this one at the very top here. Does this one match any of the given formats? Does it matter? What I mean by that is this one kind of looks like, it low-key looks like these two, right? But not exactly, because these ones have zeros, right? This one doesn't have zeros. It's not a problem at all. Can you still get your max from this? Plus, right? Can you still get your min from this? Can you still get your tolerance? can still get your nominal. So do your inventory, and then from your inventory, write it into these formats. You know what I mean? Got it? I'll leave you alone for a couple minutes, maybe 10, 15, something like that, and then I'll come back with a little bit more. Page 40.